Welcome to the Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast, episode 30. I am one half of your host, Chris, Old School Picker, proud RIN member, by the way. Along beside me is Caleb from the Old Pass, and also special guest star for episode 30, Eric, OBX Picker. We'll get to him in just a minute, but introduce yourself, Caleb.
Caleb from the Old Pass, and I just noticed I'm the only one that don't have a little subtitle under my name.
Yeah, it's always you. Always you. Yeah, well,
That's
you're
me.
not a proud RIN member.
5 minutes behind everything.
Can we drop a link down there, Eric, and get him signed up real quick?
I mean, it took a couple of minutes.
Fast.
Oh,
he's already got to pull it up on YouTube. He might as well go ahead and
there you go. It is indeed, though, my pleasure to introduce Eric, OBX Picker. I probably know Eric the longest and probably the best of any other YouTubers out there, maybe other besides Caleb. But man, been a long time friend. Eric, introduce yourself, brother.
All right, Eric, OBX Picker. Yeah, I think me and Chris have known each other almost probably around 4 years now.
4 years, yeah, I think so.
We picked together on numerous occasions from Alabama to Tennessee, so definitely done that. We're I'm with the Reselling Information Network, representing the PR department today. When we get out on the road doing that, but I just been doing the reselling thing now. Gosh, probably 4.5 years, somewhere around that, and I've got involved with the YouTube community. Just kind of watched a lot of ebb and flow when it comes to that in the reselling world. A lot of new faces, a lot of people that have been around for a long time. But I guess I'm, as odd as it sounds, 4.5 years in, I'm kind of an OG when it comes to the interview situation. I've done numerous interview shows. Had Chris on numerous times, different places. So, yeah, glad to be here.
We need to talk about one time I was on your show too. We'll get to that in just a minute because that was probably the best, financially best video I've ever made in my entire life, and it's on Eric's channel. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But yeah, huge milestone for the RIN guys this past week. 3,000 subs. That's pretty awesome, man. And really, in less than a year too, because I mean, I know you guys was doing the listening to loafing for a while, just the lives, but you guys wasn't really trying to push the YouTube channel. You was kind of just hanging out, working, getting work done, concentrating on eBay and listing, which I guess we all probably should do a little more. But then you started doing the pre-recordeds, and man, in less than a year, man, you blew that channel up. So congrats on that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a cool journey. I mean, just like I've known Chris for a long time, the guys that are on RIN with me over the years, and Cernock and Leroy, man, we've been together for a long time. It's kind of crazy. So we started a Reseller Information Network kind of with a lot of pushing and prodding of Commonwealth Picker, to be honest. He's like, man, you guys are just giving it away every week. Just tons of nuggets. I want to start recording some of that information and putting it out there. So,
Go ahead, Caleb.
I was going to say it has been interesting though, being around with those guys, and I can go in a little bit about how we got together. Was an 8-hour listing challenge. I know Chris is around for that, but I actually got inspired by a guy from Australia, Ken Skeets. I always give him credit. I don't know if he was still doing YouTube, but
I remember Ken. Yes,
17 hours. Him and his boy listed media. I was like, dude, I get bored with media in about 10 minutes. So 17 hours they listed media.
Yep.
I think they both did over 1,000 listings. Wow. But it really inspired me because I was working, and back then I was on the listing grind serious. When you come into listing loafing, I'd put up 30 or 40 or 50 like in a day when we were doing it for 8 hours. But I said, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself. No one else had really done much of that at that point, but I was like, I'm going to do 8-hour listing challenge, and I just dropped the link all day, and people came in. I think you may even popped in back then.
Yeah. Well, we knew each other before then, but I can't remember if I was there for that first show or not, because I know when you got started on the RIN pretty heavily, that's when I was moving.
Yeah.
And everybody knows my story. I sold my house, so I had to find somewhere to live for 3 or 4 months before we found a new one. So I lived with my in-laws for 3 or 4 months, and they didn't have internet. So I totally disappeared from the YouTube community for about 6 or 12 months between moving and all that. And I know that's about around the time you guys got really heavy in the listing and loafing. So I can't remember the time frame exactly, but I know I was in there quite a bit on the early days, and then of course recently too. So yeah, but shout out to the RIN guys, because man, I've met all of them besides Cernock personally. I've met Leroy I've met Tim a few times now too, and super awesome guys. And I mean, that's what makes y'all's channel so good. Is, I mean, you guys got a ton of information, there's no denying that, but you are all and you specialize in different items, and also, but you can see the genuine friendship between you guys, and that, to me, that's what makes it special, because I know you guys personally, and I know that's who you are on camera, off camera, wherever. That's who you guys are.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that makes a huge difference, just knowing that. But I was looking, and I always thought, and when you was talking about it, because you do have a personal channel too, the OBX Picker, right? And I was looking, and I always thought you started a little bit before me on YouTube, but I was looking, and your oldest video is 3 years ago, and my oldest video was 4 years ago. So I've been on YouTube just a little longer, and I didn't know that. I thought you started right before me. So, but I remember coming up in those early days together, and man, the grind of 1,000 subs back in the day. Any advice for anybody trying to?
Oh man,
I was listening to you guys last week. YouTube channel started.
I was listening to you guys last week, and congrats, Caleb, man. You got more views on your first 2 videos than I got on my first 25, probably.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's all this network pushing it. I credited all of you guys.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, we did things the hard way. Like now, as we go back and look at it, being on the other side of it, my advice to people: make better videos, like work on your craft. I can tell you how we did it was the grind and network way of basically shout out Jennifer Hayes. She's probably responsible for about 350 of my first subscribers, because Jennifer, if you came in a chat and she was there, she would drop your link. And so we used to do a lot of that. Honestly, we used to do all kinds of, if anybody was live, we would drop in and say, hey, I'm here. Like,
shout my channel out, Jennifer. Where you at?
And then if you got off, I know, because me and Chris have both had this conversation. I know when you're looking and you're like, oh man, I got 3 subs.
Oh, but then they're like,
up, man. I was in here for 3 hours.
That's working hard.
My advice there. To work on your craft. If you put out good videos, you'll get subscribers. It is important to be involved in the community for sure. And but like I said, work on your craft. Like that's really what I would say.
Well, me and Caleb have talked about it several times. And in some ways, I think building a YouTube channel in the reselling community is harder now. But in some ways, I think it's easier now too. Because back in the day when me and Eric was coming up, it was so many. You can ask Eric. It was lives all day, every day. Somebody would quit going live, and we would talk somebody in the chat to going live, and it would be the next channel, and everybody would just shift over to that channel. But, so we had a community there. That's how I met so many people. But then you started realizing it was the same 50 people in those lives all day, every day. And they'd already all subbed to you. But so, I finally realized that, you just have to, at some point, just put your nose down and grind and grind and grind and grind and grind. And Caleb's seeing that now, not only with his channel, which, man, come out of the gates swinging, but also over here. I mean, this has been a grind even for me that's been doing YouTube for 4 years. Eric will tell you that when he started getting real serious about the RIN, that first 1,000 was a grind, but now you guys are going. It seems like once you get to that 1,000, 1,500 mark, they start pushing you out more and more and more and more. And, it's still a grind, but in the early stages too, though, I still feel like the community was still building too. I know we are by far not the first. I know it's the OG Lonnie and Craigslist Hunter and all those, Kevin, all those guys were, even before them guys, were other channels too that kind of started this community. But I still feel like when me and Eric was coming up 3 and 4 years ago, it was still in its infant stages, and and it's still continuing to grow. I mean, I'm still excited about the reselling YouTube community. So it's interesting. But yeah, shout out Caleb, man. You come out swinging, brother. How'd your episode 3 do?
It's about to break 700.
Eric, what would you have done for 700 views on your 3rd video, man?
I would be not near as calm as Caleb is right now.
Hey, I tell you like this, I feel very blessed and fortunate because I know from watching you guys over the years that is not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep expecting it to just die anytime, like 100, 150 views anytime. But I mean, I don't know. Well, y'all talk about like coming up the hard way. So I feel privileged that I have all of y'all's material to look back on. And I can be like, well, that worked for them. So I can kind of ride that momentum and create something similar because, people are looking for generally the information and the content that's already there. They like to see it, how this guy does it, how that guy does it, how this girl does it. There's not a whole lot of new stuff out there, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's the argument, though, that I've got. The harder part about coming up now is because there's so many channels.
Yeah, it's a big market now. I will
say.
When
Eric come up, there wasn't a ton of us. So it was easier to gain those subs because people were looking for that new content. Yeah. But the easier part of being a new channel now is the formula is out there now.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, shout out Kevin, shout out Lonnie, Shed Flips. I totally copied everything they did. Those guys were my guys, that's who I watched. I was like, what's up videos? So they perfected that formula. I came in and just kind of copied it and done my own twist to it. But yeah, the formula is out there depending on how you want to make your channel. I hate to say just copy people, but what else is there to really do on YouTube and reselling that's not already out there? I made that comment in a live about 3 years ago and got totally ate up. Like, oh yeah, there's new stuff every day. I'm like, there's really, really not.
I mean,
there's
new
polos,
people, new stuff, but not.
Yeah, the stuff's different, but the formula is pretty much the. I mean, I can't think of anything you're going to do in the reselling YouTube world that's not already been done.
Exactly.
I mean, some people are just better at it than others.
True.
Yeah. And that's why
it comes down to personality, I think, too. Like, I mean,
absolutely.
Honestly, just like anybody in the world, like there's certain people you click with, there's certain people you don't. So like, I think that's what allows you to develop a little unique audience. Like we all, and I'm sure Caleb's starting to see it even with y'all's podcast, is you have your ride or dies, right?
Yeah.
Like you have some people that once they get locked in they're with you.
Right.
And really the trick becomes at that point is trying to figure out how to grow outside of that, like to be introduced to new people or to find because essentially within the reselling community, we all grow our own community kind of thing amongst the bigger community.
Right.
And even though we may know, like, I mean, I know a ton of people in the reselling world and I've had tons of interaction with them, but like there's some people they just have a completely different audience than what I have, or completely different audience than any.
Well, I always refer to it as you're building a neighborhood inside the reselling community. You got your own little neighborhood, but it's in a bigger community, and that's how I refer to it. And I think that's why the garage sale, yard sale videos they do so good is because they expand way past the reselling community, way past it. They reach people that watch just YouTube content.
treasure hunters,
that type of stuff, storage units, that type of stuff. They kind of cross over into that market too. So, if you're out there looking to start YouTube reselling, my suggestion, and I believe Eric's and probably Caleb's as well, would be, the garage sale videos is the way to get there quicker.
Yeah.
But that was never the content I enjoyed making. Eric,
it is harder.
That, man.
Yeah.
All the hours and hours of footage we've got of yard sales that we just never edited, because editing those things is a grind.
And a lot of things that people don't think about is the filming aspect. We know, because we've been with the pros. Like, we've been with Kevin. We've been, I've picked with John. I've picked with Kevin. I've picked with a bunch of people. Matt, part-time picker. Like, Matt was so, like, when I went to Reseller Rally a couple years ago, it's like going to school watching those guys, how they interact. Like, for me, and Chris can attest to this, like, I can talk to the stump in the yard. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I can talk to anybody, and, I can usually get some kind of deal, some kind of interaction, something like that. The problem is you forget that you're filming and what you're filming. So for me, I'm a little taller, unlike, Kevin and some of these guys, Chris, like they're filming table level. I'm shooting over the table. I'm in the backyard over there. I've got that going on. Either that, or half the time I'm looking down at I'll bend over to pick something up. I'm shooting the anthill beside my foot or something. You don't get the shot. And so Matt really kind of dumbed it down to me. He's like, you got to film it, the item. Like, you got to find the item, film yourself finding it, film yourself negotiating, film yourself buying it.
Yep.
And he said, if you can capture all those shots and put that into garage sale style video, that's what you need. But that takes hours of editing for you guys that have aspirations of YouTube. That's where the disconnect is with me, is like the hours that it takes.
Remember talking to ADH Dave 2 years ago when he came up for the 127 sale, and he didn't really know me too well, so he was asking what type of videos I make, and I said, well, I do a little yard sale videos from time to time. I said, but I do mostly what so videos. He's like, really? I was like, yeah. I was like, they're just so much easier to edit. And he's the first person, and I'm sure there's other people out there that say this, but he was the first person I ever remember saying that he thought editing yard sale and garage sale videos was easier than the what so. And I was like, wow. He said, because you always have to come up the what so videos, you always have to come up with topics, you always have to come up with something to say. To where the yard sale videos, you're just interacting with the people that's selling the items, and you're just natural, you're just recording that natural conversation. And I was like, yeah, I get that, but the 2 hours that you got to edit out to get to that point, that's the part I hate. But he's mastered it, I'm sure too. So, but he was the first person I ever heard say that he would much rather edit yard sale videos than what so videos. I'm like,
well, I did a yard sale video. I've got one, kind of edited. I was going to drop that as my first video, and it took me like 2 hours to perfect that thing. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I turned over and done the other video. It took me like 45 minutes, and it was just a breeze compared to the yard sale video. And I've found that on a lot of the yard sale, garage sale stuff, I'm nitpicking what I've recorded. I've deleted 5 or 6 that was just junk sales. Like, I walked in, looked around, there really wasn't no interaction. Nobody was talking. And it's like, well, that one's trash, Yeah. But you kind of control your own destiny inside your reselling space,
I know with me, I'll edit a what so video, if it's a 30-minute video, it might take 40 minutes to edit it. I'll go through it, edit it one time, and it is what it is. Yard sale video, I'll edit that same video, and then I'll go through it again and edit it again. I'm like, do you really need that part in it? Because dead space, Eric knows this, dead space and any kind of video live or anything, it's just horrible. You lose your audience, and once you lose them, that video is just done. So, I think with the yard sale videos, quicker the better, the shorter the better, and probably with the what so videos too, even though I'm horrible about making 35-minute videos. But It is what it is. But all right, enough about YouTube. That's our passion. I know Eric has a huge passion for it. Caleb's developing a huge passion for it.
I like it pretty good.
He's already hooked, I can tell. But we are, I think, a reselling podcast. So how's sales been going? Yeah, we're supposed to be. God, don't look at my sales because they are absolutely atrocious right now. But how's your sales been, Caleb?
I had a very strange weekend. Friday, like around $100. And then Saturday, no, maybe I'm wrong. Well, it was close to that. And then Saturday, it exploded $600 and something. Jeez. And yesterday, back down to $80.
Yeah.
Today, I've not sold anything yet.
So, I've not sold nothing today either.
Don't get it. It's the craziest thing, man.
They've got the Tennessee server turned off.
I think so. Did you run into, like I run into, and my brother-in-law run into issues with shipping?
Yeah.
Like this morning, it kept saying we're experiencing issues, but it let me print all my labels.
Yeah, I didn't have no problem. I shipped this morning, didn't have any problem. Did you, Eric, this morning?
Yes, I did. I got that same error message, and I've actually got something super crazy going on with our post office out here. I went into the post office like 2 days ago, and my postal worker informed me, the postmaster is like, yeah, they're changing some things up out here on the Outer Banks. So normally our packages go from us to Rocky Mount, Raleigh area. They're changing them to go to Norfolk, which hurts me in a way because now our truck comes for pickup at 8:45. Our post office opens at 9:00.
Oh man!
Now I'm losing an entire day of delivery. Now I used to have a little cheat code, so I could go to a neighboring post office like 5 miles away. And they got 2 trucks a day. So if I was running a little behind schedule or wanted something to get there a little quicker, I would go there in the morning, drop off packages before 11, and then I could go in the afternoon and drop off packages. They'd arrive at the same time. Like the morning packages would be about a day, half ahead of the rest of them. But now everybody in the county is on that 8:45. Now, what she told me is very interesting too. Apparently UPS has lost the Amazon. This is like one of our breaking news that I was going to talk about on Tuesday. But
your video Tuesday will be out before this anyways.
Yeah, UPS has lost the Amazon account. So like they're actually for home deliveries. I mean, for a lot of their delivery now is coming through USPS, which is going to put even more of a load on USPS.
Yeah, right here at fourth quarter too.
Yeah,
they need it anymore.
I'm like, geez, we can't even get enough help as it is. But,
yeah, shout out to USPS last year though. I did not have any problem.
They were excellent last year.
Yeah. Now this year, I'm afraid for it this year because with the whole ground advantage switch over now, with you're saying UPS and Amazon have broke up. Oh man, they are like, there's a good chance it's going to get small.
It's a little worrisome. I mean, at this point, like you guys are talking about sales, mine have been like a roller coaster. Like some days I blow it out, some days I do 1 or 2, which is like kind of crazy for me. I've really been concentrating on raising my average sale price. So, like even if I make less, I'm still making more, than what I would otherwise. So.
Yeah, sometimes more is less with eBay or just reselling in general too.
I checked mine yesterday. It was like $54, my average sales price. I couldn't believe it was that high.
Free shipping.
Free shipping, true, but
I always got to throw that in there.
$35.
Yeah, but that's still pretty good.
Yeah, no, probably like 40.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always been one that I think if you keep your average sale price above $30, that's always a go for me. I think plus the shipping, not including shipping, $30 plus the shipping. That's always been a pretty good number for me. It always improve? Absolutely. If you get up to that $40, $45, $50, then you're cranking it. But $30 is usually about where I'm at plus the shipping.
What affects me is parts, because I still have a lot of parts. Like I could have had more parts, but I didn't.
I could have too. Yeah. We're talking about the lawnmower parts. Watch my video, my previous few videos, the lawnmower parts that we found. Well, did you run up on those first, or did Leroy on the Highway 127 sale? What were they? Lowe's large boxes?
Yeah, this one.
Well, right behind your head. Yeah. That box right there full of lawnmower parts for $40.
45.
Yeah. $45. Leroy bought 2 boxes. I mean, that was a long ways from home. They had and Eric bought 2 boxes. I only bought 1 like an idiot. How many boxes did he have? 100 at least?
Easy.
Because he had some in his truck too.
Resell King ended up getting the rest of them, and he had to basically dump everything that he brought to that sale. And he
gave him a deal because he did buy them for $25, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even have all mine listed yet, and I've probably sold $300 easily. And I know I have like 4 or 5 parts right now listed for over $100. So I would say rough estimate, easy, low estimate, $1,000 a box.
Yeah,
probably.
Yep, that's about what I would figure.
Oh, I should be just absolutely, because this is 15 minutes from my house. I should have bought every box. I'm telling you right now, that's one of the worst deals I've ever not made. Is not going and buying every one of those.
Hey, I would ever told Chris, I was like, man, I said I would come back over here, bro.
I should have, because this was Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Or Friday.
Yeah, Saturday. We were leaving to go home.
Yeah. And the next day was Sunday, which was the last day of it. I should have, at least go buy 10 more boxes or whatever, but I don't know. I would have if it had have been near the beginning of the 127 sale, but I had bought so much stuff on the 127 sale. This was like the 12th day in a row that I've been yard selling. I bought so much stuff, spent so much money. I was like, I don't need that stuff. But I didn't realize how good they were until, of course, you start digging in it and listing it. I kick myself every time I think about it.
Have you had a lot of stuff that's like multiple listings?
Yes.
Several. That is.
I'd get an auction. It would have like 3 or 4. Yeah. Not like
much of that.
Yeah, mine would have like 3 or 4 of each.
But still, man, that makes it so much more attractive.
Brand new, old stock. It had the part number on it. You type in that part number, they're on there.
Caleb, the guy Brandon Resell King, he sent me a text. He listed 1 box. It was $3,200.
Holy, yeah.
Oh.
And the stuff sells too. It's selling. I bet I've sold 10 or 15 pieces.
I have Honda and Kawasaki is what
mine was Kohler.
Honda and Kawasaki.
Well, at that price, you could afford to undercut a little bit and sell that stuff quick.
Cheap. You can sell it.
Yeah. But it's one of those things with parts. Like I've actually sold a lot of parts over the years, because I bought 2 van loads of old stock Johnson Evinrude stuff years. Like Chris knows about it years ago. Dude, is like my van is like riding low getting out there. I had to come back the second day, and man, I still sell that. I'm down to like 6 boxes. I started out with about 80. Good. So yeah.
Well, okay, during that lawnmower deal, I heard you said something. And that was the first time I heard you say it. And I've heard you say it several times since. And I've used it several times, and I absolutely love it. Now, I coined the phrase, sell what you find. I love that. That's how I live. That's what I live by. But Eric told me that day, and I will never forget it. It ain't sexy, but it pays the bills. I absolutely love that saying. Who cares, man? Yeah, lawnmower parts don't make good video, don't make great YouTube content. But let me tell you right now, it pays the bills. I love that saying. I love it.
I sold one right when we got on air. One gasket. Not big money, but who cares? Like I've got 50 of them.
Yeah. I mean, we probably got like a dime a piece in this stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's wild.
but now I've sold a bunch of it for
$13.99 plus shipping.
Yeah. And you throw it in a poly mailer and ship it out. So
that's what really gets me is the stuff like that. That's just boom out the door.
That actually might be the title of this video. It ain't sexy, but it pays the bills. I just love that. I love that saying, and I think about it now just all the time.
Well, when you think about like, I mean, because just like with me, I mean, obviously, I kind of had a little kick myself moment on the way home too. Like I looked over at Leroy. We're about 5 hours from there at this point, and Leroy's riding with me. I looked over at him and I said, I should have bought that trailer because the guy had a trailer for sale. I said, I bet if I bought that trailer, I could have hooked it to the back of my van. I've got a tow bar. It wasn't a massive trailer. I said, if I would have made a deal with him and said, look, I will buy like this trailer if you fill it with the parts. And I bet he would have done it.
I bet he would have
done
it.
Yeah. And I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, man, I said, then I could sell the trailer when I got home and probably have all the parts free and clear.
And if I remember right, the trailer was a decent deal. Yeah, it's $2,500. It was 8x12, I think, maybe trailer or something.
Yeah.
Nice cargo box trailer. Yeah, that's probably one of the worst mistakes me and Eric either one's ever made.
Of course, like, I mean, Reseller Rally, like you guys have heard, if you've watched Dave's video, we haven't talked about it as much on RIN, a little bit on a Tuesday, but the comic deal at Reseller Rally. So Yard Selling Dreams had reached out to me, also Shad Juice Kevin, had talked to me a little bit about it. And so I went over there to that house, not knowing anything about comic books. And honestly, I'm looking at t-shirts, dude. I'm looking at what I know, I'm like, okay. And then I got Cernock on the phone. Cernock knows Spider-Man. He's like, yeah, if you find this issue, I was like, dude, I'm showing him on FaceTime. I was like, Cernock, I don't think you understand what I'm looking at here. Like, this is like mountains of comic books. So I just started grabbing old ones, and I took 3 boxes.
10 and 12 cent comics. I mean, we're talking.
But in hindsight, I should have just rented a car and filled the car and drove home.
I know Dave did, didn't he? Didn't he rent a car and take a?
But we didn't get in. We only had a short time. It was an odd situation, but it's one of those things like you think every now and then something comes along that you're like, I should have did this. I should have did that. But we just had an episode about this where we talked about risk versus reward, right? Like we talk about how there are times in your reselling journey where you run up on a deal that's scary. Honestly, when you look at it, you're like, oh, A, do I want to list that much stuff? B, do I want to put out this much money? How soon can I get it back? Like you start looking at this risk versus reward. And I wish I could say that I've took all the chances when they were appropriate. But you've heard me tell this before, Chris, but like years ago, I bought a sporting goods store, like the back side of it, like just the leftover inventory, sight unseen, $750. I just got started, dude. My budget on a weekly basis was $100. Like that's what I would spend at yard sales, $100 a week, and then come back. I'm just kind of real green, just getting going. And the guy called me. He said, "Hey, would you be interested in the stock from an old sporting goods store?" And I'm on the phone with him saying, "What's in there?" And he said, and honestly, the only reason I bought it is because he told me there were shoes for one. But the main reason I bought it, he said there was a heat press in there, like a t-shirt press. Yeah. And so I'm thinking to myself, I was like, man, that's probably worth a couple $100. T-shirt press, like, probably a couple $100. So then I'm like, well, and then he calls me later in the day. I'm supposed to go meet him. I call him and I say, hey, where you want me to meet? He's like, I've already got it all in the trailer. I'm like, what? I haven't even looked at it. And he says, I said, well, how much is it? He goes, well, I got the whole trailer. He has an 18-foot trailer. He said, I got the whole trailer, and it's probably about 2 boxes deep. And I've got stuff in the back of my truck. The back of my truck's full. And I was like, well, what are you thinking here? And he told me on the phone, he's like, $750, I'll bring it to your house.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, I'm with my dad. I'm looking at my dad like, hey, where am I going to put this? Do I want to lay out $750? I haven't even seen it. For all I know, it could be T-shirts from Little League from some town that don't even have Little League anymore. You know, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh man, but you know what? I pulled the trigger, and honestly, the end of the story was within the first 10 minutes of starting to list items, I had all my money back.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was Converse low black ox in the box. The box said official sponsor of the 1984 Olympics. They were brand new, dead stock. I listed my first one for $150. There was no comps whatsoever, and it sold before I could put the phone down. Like I listed it, and it cha-chinged on the way to the table. And so I listed the next pair at 200, next pair at 250, the last pair at 300. Then I had a pair of the old original Chuck Taylors. And so I listed them at 200. They sold. Like I had my 750 plus back immediately. And I'd only touched like 4 or 5 boxes in the whole.
Plus a trailer full.
Yeah. And then dude, my house and my parents stay with us. You know, they're older. And so my house, like the dining room den, is stacked like chest high all the way across, and we're like scavenger hunting that thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
But it's fun. Just, I mean, me and my wife enjoy like when we put it up and bring it back out later, getting to see that stuff again is just a whole new journey. You know, it's fun.
Well, I think that's probably all, you know, that's a big part of all of what we do. You know, we kind of all are about the same age. Shout out, Old Guys. But, you know, just the memories of seeing that stuff from the 80s where we all grew up in. And I know me and Eric's talked many a times about, I'm not really a shoe seller, but Eric sells a ton. But, man, I appreciate those old shoes, man. I just don't ever see them. Of course, I don't ever look at them either. But we got to talking about the old original Reebok pumps. And, oh, yeah, you've got a pair. I forgot about that. You've got a pair, don't you, Eric?
I had a pair. I don't know. You can't see it. Let me see if I can shift the camera a little bit. Look right there.
I
see that green can of Converse sitting up on top of the book.
Oh yeah. Did that come from
Alabama?
Yeah.
Alabama.
Shout out in the background, Macho Man, Slim Jim too.
Hey,
the whole time.
You want to talk about the bolo? Guys?
That's a bolo right there.
Well, we had Rocky Top Picker on as guest for episode 25, and he had just found one of those. And it's so funny that you found one too, Caleb.
I didn't find it. I bought it dead out of the convenience store.
Oh my god!
You know me. I mean, Chris knows. Like, dude, I work on something with somebody. Yeah. So I go in there. I asked the guy at the counter. I said, "Hey, it's sitting right dead on the counter right in front," which I already knew about them. Right. And I was like, I asked the guy. I said, "Hey, man," I said, "what do y'all do with these displays when they're empty?" Now it had like 4 of them beef sticks still sitting in there. He said, "A lot of times we throw them away." I said, "Well, you gonna throw this away when this one's empty?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I think so." I said, "Would you give it to me?" And he goes, "Yeah, if it's empty." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna buy these 4 beef sticks."
Yeah. Holy cow! What?
Oh
my goodness!
I rode out there with it.
I'm gonna go to every gas
I'm
station.
about to take off right now.
Hey,
I'll be back in a few
I
minutes.
tell you what you want to do though. There's a newer one out.
Yeah.
There's 2 newer ones that are newer than this. This one's the prices fell off quite a bit from when I first started looking for them. But if you see the red one or the one with him with the holding the glasses, that's the one you want.
Yeah, I think Rocky Top Picker Ben on episode 25, he had 2 of them.
Yeah, he had 2.
I think one of them was the one he was holding the glasses.
One convenience store I tried to do the same thing in. They said, "Yeah, we got 2 displays in the back room." I was like, "I know that's one of them good ones is back there."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on them. Maybe in a couple weeks.
Just keep going and buying those beef jerkies.
Well, this is different. Like that's an entirely different story. I look for them everywhere I go now because now that I know what they are, I was like, yeah.
We'll get to some other stuff in just a minute. But while we're talking about displays, number one, I want to talk about the one you got behind you, Pirates of the Caribbean display. But also you got to tell the story about the Dolly Parton stuff, man.
Oh man. So I've got a bunch of Dolly stuff. I don't know if you can see the.
Hold that jacket up for.
Yeah, let me grab it.
All the this great content for all our audio listeners. But he has a denim jacket with Dolly Parton airbrushed on the back.
Whoa.
Now, Caleb, we live in Tennessee, brother, the home of Dolly, and we don't never see that stuff.
Never seen anything like that.
Dolly walks on water in Tennessee.
According to my guy Cernock, this is a 500 plus.
Woo.
Wow. To my guy Cernock.
It's on a Pepsi tag jacket too, which I've never seen. Which is
that is wild right there. That's cool though. I like it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we got Dolly shirts like crazy though.
Look at that.
Wow.
I have 19 Dolly shirts. I've sold 5 for around $100 a piece. And
have you ever even seen a Dolly shirt around here, Chris?
No,
I don't think I've ever seen the.
I mean, that stuff's holy grails around here. We live in the home of Dolly. People
actually 2 people that bought shirts were from Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's because you can't get them here.
Yeah,
you can't find them.
Yeah, I mean,
tell you what, man, if she puts out some special shirt at Dollywood, it might be worth the.
It'd pay for your ticket a bit.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh, yeah.
They well, as sad as it is, but you guys know because we go to estate sales, right? So
yeah,
not like in a few years, I imagine that T-shirt's probably worth a whole lot more.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, so the crazy thing, you talk about when you talk about reselling, you talk about making connections, right? So it's always good to talk to people at yard sales or wherever you're at. Like I'm never ashamed or embarrassed to tell people what I do. I come right out with it, tell them what I do, ask them questions about things. And so I have a guy, the state guy, a friend of mine. And I also have another, actually a lady who owns a thrift store, does clean outs. And so they call me occasionally when they find some wild stuff. I got them on the lookout for some things for me. Certain things they'll call me, shoot me pictures. And so he had posted on Facebook 3 Dolly stand-ups. 2 of them were full size. One was a half, and the cardboard stand-ups. One of them was for a wig company. One of them was for Columbia Studios, and one of them was from Dollywood. It actually used to sit on the counter. And so, man, I got those. I went to go pick them up, drove out there. It's an hour and change to get to this guy. So I drove out there. I bought the 3 of them. I brought a Joe Paterno one as well. He wasn't very popular.
Joe Pop.
But I sold the 4 of them in less than 2 or 3 days. Like they're all gone.
Good.
And good money. The one was like $150, one sold for $100, and the half one sold for I think right at $100 on that one as well. The guy messaged me about the half, and he's like, "Hey, I make custom Dolly dolls. I've made this dress for a doll." He said, "This is from Dollywood from whatever year." Like he gave me a whole lot more information than what I wanted about it. But anyway, he bought it. And then on my way out there, I get a phone call from the lady who has the thrift. She had got the T-shirts. So she cleaned out the house, like half. She bought 3 bedrooms of that house. And what she was after, she had crystal chandeliers. The person that hang in their house, she got all the crystal chandeliers. Yeah. But there was tons of that Dolly stuff there. And like she said, she called me. She goes, "I got some of them single shirts you've been looking for." I said, "Really?" I said, "What's on them?" And she's like, "Dolly Parton." I was like, "Whoa."
Well, how much and what time do you need me there?
Yeah. So I went with that. Me and her have a little deal though. Like I do always give her some money when I first go there, but if it's something that's just a home run, like I come back and give her more because I was like, I want her to keep shopping. Like,
I mean, you're just investing. That's an investment right there.
Yeah, for the next time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That jacket was with the shirts. So
I mean, I've picked with several pickers in my life, and everybody's got their strong points and everybody's got their weaker points. Eric, by far and away of anybody I've ever picked with, and that's not a knock on anybody, but Eric is the absolute best at making contacts. Absolute best. He's never met a stranger. He can talk to anybody. And he talks to him, he builds that contact, and I've never seen anybody like him. And I mean, that's a big part of the business, part of the business. And that's probably one of the places I lack the most, to be honest with you. I'm not great at that. I'm not a people person. believe it or not, me being on YouTube. I know it's crazy for a lot of people to believe, but I'm not a huge people person, but Eric is, and I've seen him just make contacts all over the place. So yeah, that's a big part of the business, and it pays off. I need to improve on that for sure.
We got 2 calls last week from just giving, saying, hey, if you ever want to sell any more stuff like this, or whatever, and got 2 calls and waiting on one of them to call back this week. But that made me think about something. I don't know if y'all have ever read Chip Gaines, Chip and Joanna. He put out a book a couple of years ago, and I was reading it, and he used to collect business cards anytime. And of course, he's in the real estate, flipping houses and all that, but he would get like a plumber's business card or this guy's business card. He would collect them. He had a box of them. And that's how he built his contact list. And I was like, that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
If you put enough lines in the water, eventually you get a bite.
Yeah. And it just takes, you fish all your life and you catch a bunch of 3-pounders. Well, that's good. But then all of a sudden, man, you catch that one big 7-8 pounder and that's all it takes in that. So I can honestly say I need to improve on that.
Have y'all ever had, I had a woman message me on eBay one time, and she wanted me to come. It was in Nashville, Murfreesboro or something. She wanted me to come to her house. Her husband had died, and buy all, and this, I was kind of up and down on it, but he had like a huge die-cast collection. Well, before I could get her to commit to me coming, she already had it committed to somebody else. And I said, do I need to bring a trailer? And she said, yes, absolutely. And I'm like, well, I got a 16-footer. Is that big enough? She said, you may have to make more than one trip. I'm like, but by the time I said, okay, I can come Thursday, she said, well, this guy's coming Monday or something, Yeah. And I'm like, but I was still, we wasn't doing the podcast or nothing. That was just, she found me on eBay and messaged me because I was an eBay seller.
That's interesting. I've never had that happen. That's interesting.
That was the only time that's ever happened, but it didn't.
I've never had that. I have people reach out to me on all of social media about stuff.
Yeah.
She could have possibly been crazy and tried to kill you, Caleb.
Could have been, but wouldn't it have been a cool story?
It would have. Make sure you take your camera. Next time that happens, make sure you get that on video.
Did they buy anything off your eBay store?
No, she just messaged wanting to know if I was interested. And I'm like, well, yeah. Yeah, but it could have been a stalker, murderer. So
I'm almost surprised.
What item was it on?
I don't even remember. I have no idea.
It probably was. You didn't get in trouble on that, or she didn't get in trouble on that, because eBay frowns on business deals outside the platform.
Yeah. Well, that's why it took me so long to reply. I was just like, yeah, I'm interested, but got to be careful how this goes.
Yeah.
But
it was different.
I've never heard anybody else ever having that happen. Not like without having contact somewhere else. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's the only time that's ever happened. But
go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's weird.
I can't have Eric on without talking about Photo Room. Eric, and shout out to all the RIN guys. They kind of brought, to my knowledge anyways, RIN to the reselling community, YouTube community. I know it was out there, but you guys were the first people I heard about it. Shout out Whatnot too, because you guys were the first people I ever heard talk about Whatnot too. But talk about Photo Room for just a minute, Eric.
Man, I don't know, how anybody is familiar or not familiar with it. But, we have Facebook group at Reselling Information Network. We actually have a link in there about go in and look.
I'll add all those links down in the
see what people are doing, because we pinned a comment to the top with Photo Room. For those of you who don't know, so Photo Room is just basically you can do background removal, but it's better than that. I don't know if you guys have messed with the one on eBay. It's gotten better, but
eBay's hasn't greatly improved over the last few months.
Yeah, but it's still not 100%. It's still little issues, which Photo Room occasionally you will have to go in and do something with that as well.
Well, the eBay one too, all you can do is white out the background. That's the only option you can do.
I was trying to pull up so like I've got, I should pull up at something that I just listed this. I actually just found this the other day. So let's see if I can pull it up in the screen.
I may have to approve it. I don't know. Do I have to approve it?
Probably. It's probably going to come up to you first.
Yeah. There it is.
Oh, for anybody watching or listening, go check out this video on YouTube if you're listening to it on podcast, and Eric will kind of give you a rundown of Photo Room.
Yeah, so basically all I did, this is just a metal sign that I picked up at a yard sale this past weekend. And like for me, looking at it, you know, it's just normal metal sign, but I actually put it at the track, on the track, like where
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, show that second picture, the difference.
I'm trying to find
between the Photo Room picture and then just the regular picture. It's really unbelievable, and I do think it helps sales. I've used it. I played around with it, experimented with it a little bit. Just the free version, but I know with the paid version, you can just do so much more.
So I have a question, Eric. I've heard the argument, and I kind of like this, but I've heard the argument that it messes up Google search results. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, I actually, so it's crazy. I have some connections, some people that I know from eBay that like communicate with eBay on a much higher level than any of the rest of us. Honestly, is the guys at we interviewed List Perfectly. So Claire, actually, they do a lot of business with Google. She's talked to them about this, about the background, the white background. That is true for Google search. Now, here's the other side of it, though. As far as Google search, if you were to really take a hard look at your stuff, more than likely most of your sales aren't coming necessarily from Google search.
I agree with that.
They're coming from Google search may get them to the item, but how many people do you know that buys the very first thing that pops up?
Right.
Generally, they're going to search like one way or another, highest to lowest or whatever. They're going to do some kind of, or eBay will give them the best match. Once they get there, they're going to see their item. They're going to see a bunch of other items. So for me, what I've known now, I do promote, and all the guys on RIN do promote. So I just want to disclose that. Myself, Tim, and Cernock are firm believers, and just from there's no clear-cut numbers that says we're getting more, but I can tell you the views on the items that I use Photo Room go through the roof. Like they're literally, and then if you look at just the eye test, like if I was to go down a listing and look at all those camel signs, and then you see my camel sign, like what do you buy with your eyes? Like we all do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm drawn to that. I'm at least clicking on it. I'm at least going to look at it and say, is this the same thing? So, I mean, for us, like, and I don't use it on everything. Like there's lawnmower parts. There's no need to use Photo Room on a lawnmower part. Like people are going in, they're buying a part by the number, by the whatever. But for other items, I can tell you for boots and shoes and
hats,
hats. And I mean, I've used it on, I wish I could just put my screen up from my Photo Room app because they actually store all your stuff. I don't know that I can pull it up and it look anything. Like I've sold it. Like this is my favorite.
I mean, look at them boots on the side of that cliff there.
Look at it. I sold this fish last week. That thing's huge. Oh, Randy, the Macho Man.
Oh yeah, in the rain.
Oh, in the rain, son. Oh yeah,
that's nice.
Got this brass deer out here just lounging.
Yeah. I know Tim from listening to you guys on RIN. I know Tim has mentioned several times that with his glass that he uses Photo Room.
That's a glass fish.
That he has had people message him and ask him if he really went to the beach to photo his pictures.
Wow.
Have you ever been asked about that?
I get people message me like about like just different things as far as even comic books. Like, look at that. Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
So I mean that's the kind of stuff I just think it brings so much to the like it's not every picture. A lot of times I'll do Like, I mean, here's that dolly stand up I was talking about.
Oh, that is awesome!
On
right
the
there.
Grand Ole Opry stage.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks so real. I mean, it's not, you know, it don't look Photoshop. Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Now, I will say this: when it comes to if you add people and stuff in the background, then it kind of gets a little wonky. But like, there's cowboy boots. Put them in the barn. You know, like it's.
And you're taking that picture just on your regular photo booth, running it through the Photo Room app, and it's producing that.
Yeah. So then the other thing is, this is like, there's far more advanced than just that. So like, depending on how much time, like Cernock is like, he used to work in graphic design. Like, he did concert posters and all kinds of stuff. Like, he's done that. So like, I don't know if you have ever messed with t-shirts or clothing, but you know, sometimes you get the trapezoid effect.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually straighten that out in Photo Room to where it'll take it back straight. And then also you can mess with, like, I can turn the light on my item. Like, you know, sometimes you take it, it looks like the lighting is good. And then you take the picture, like, it's a little dark. You can actually hit the light on button and it actually brightens up the picture a little bit.
Huh.
So it's, I mean, there's a lot more to it than what people, I mean, the backgrounds, the AI backgrounds for me, though, it's changed the way I list in the sense of, it makes it fun. I'll just be honest. It makes it, because I'm like, dude, what can I do with this thing that's going to draw attention?
Well, I know for me and a lot of other people, as far as the process of reselling, taking pictures is it always has been my least favorite part. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. So anything to make that fun and enjoyable, man.
Like, see this hat right here?
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right, so I took this hat on my kitchen table, like with no background whatsoever, nothing around it. Just like, I popped it off, and then it took the background out from around it. I did the little background on it. So even like, you know, if you're a clothing person, flat lays and all that's a pain in the butt. Like, to do that and get the right lighting, the right surface, the right. So like, that kind of makes it easier. I can flat lay on my dining room table. I can flat lay on the floor with the carpet. I can, you know, flat lay wherever I want.
Right.
And not have to deal with it. Even like, we have a spare bedroom. Sometimes I'll go put jackets on the bed and just pop them off with the Photo Room. Like, it's really been a game changer for me. And not just that kind of stuff like this. So this is like a Vitamix blender.
Oh yeah, that looks good,
dude. This sold in 2 days.
Right.
Wow.
Like, it's like, you know, you look at.
Do you feel like on average, you know, just talking averages here, do you feel like on average you're getting better prices using for your items?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I've recently done with, I mean, obviously there's lots of factors to that, but I've recently, most items I'm using Photo Room, I price mine up and turn on offers. I know that's controversial with you, you guys, but I do turn on offers and I put the price, but man, I'm getting like, recently I sold, I was trying to think of what it was that I sold the other day that was far more than what other people had even listed for. It was like $10 or $15 more. I think it was like a $35 item. People were selling around the $20 range, and I popped it up on Photo Room and got $35. Like,
so that's a significant increase up there.
So even though it is a paid subscription, I mean, they do have a free version. It's very, very limited on what you can do with the free version. But you would be safe to say that it's absolutely paying for itself, and probably then.
I mean, you figure, I don't know what the subscription is right now. I have a yearly with RAN. So you have to go to photoroom.com. That's kind of a pain in the butt to do it that way, but to upgrade to the pro version, go to photoroom.com, code RAN, you save 10%. I think it's about $10 a month. I think is what it comes out to.
But that wouldn't take but a couple of sales.
One, 2 sales at the most.
Yeah. I mean, like, there's so much stuff you could do with it, like, just to change the look of your listing. And then if you are cross listing to other platforms, like if you look at Cernock's Posh Closet, it is insane what's going on over there. Like, he definitely has taken it to a whole nother level. But if you're doing anything, like I did football helmets, I've done Wii guitars. Like,
well, the recent Marvin the Martian I showed Caleb the picture. I sent Eric that picture, and he ran it through his photo room and sent it back to me. That's how I got that cool picture of Marvin the Martian.
In like 10 seconds. Like,
yeah, in 10 seconds. Yeah. And we did it the hard way.
Yeah, that's the knock that people say sometimes. I don't want to take the extra time.
And to value your point there, I got a little more for mine than what the average price was. I sat on it a little longer, but I did end up selling it for more than what most people were selling theirs for.
But there's something important in all that has been said a couple times. It makes it fun. If you can make this job fun, it will be so much easier.
Well, especially if you can improve the part you hate the most.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking about sourcing. That's everybody's favorite. We're talking about the part we hate. You know? So, yeah, that's a great point. Even if it didn't improve your sales, even if it didn't improve the cost of what you're getting for it, and you are just flat out eating the $10, guess what? If it makes it fun, if it makes you want to get out there and do it, because you're not selling it if you're not out here taking pictures. Period, because you're not listing it, right? So if it does encourage you to do that, then it's probably worth the $10 a month. Code RIN to save 10%, right? All caps, right?
All caps.
And you have to go to photoroom.com on your computer to sign up. But once you're signed up, it is a mobile app as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out.
It'll say upgrade to pro, like you'll see in the corner of the thing, it'll say pro up there. You click on that.
And to our knowledge, the RIN guys are the only ones with a code to save money on that. To our knowledge.
Still the only ones that I know of.
Yeah.
We're actually working with a guy. It may be coming soon for mobile code, but he's like basically, it's in.
Well, you've actually talked to the guys from Photo Room.
Yeah.
So Eric's got the inside scoop on that.
Yeah, we were having weekly meetings with that guy. He had a baby recently, so we haven't met as frequently. But
that's pretty big, though. The Chins are the only ones. Like,
it's real big.
Yeah,
I know some other YouTubers that would kill for that code.
I've had numerous ones that have reached out to me.
Yeah, we've had
a connection.
Eric's had some conversations about a certain few people that want a code for that.
Yeah.
I know a couple old guys that would be right all over that.
Yeah, well, I know two more old guys. Yeah, for sure.
Who knows, man? There's a lot coming down the pipe in the future for the old RIN. So,
well, I wasn't planning on talking about it, but you guys you guys talked about Photo Room. I'd never heard of it before then. You guys talked about Whatnot. Me and Caleb both have done Whatnot auctions, somewhat successful. Never heard of it before you guys. Also, something else that kind of you guys talk about quite a bit that you guys kind of brought me to the knowledge is AI in reselling, and that's something that I'm old school, right? So it's all new to me. Been on eBay for 22, 23 years now, but reselling's changing, eBay's changing. Hopefully, eBay is continuing to go in the right direction, although we all, I think, question that at times, but. Yeah, AI too. So,
are you guys have you tried any of the AI descriptions?
I've tried it once and the only reason I've not tried it more is because I don't list on the phone, and right now it's just a mobile option. It's not on the computer. But I did try once on the mobile, and I just went in there and edited something on the phone and put in the AI description. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I've had people message me and they're like, "That was a very nice description."
It's nice. It's nicer than anything I can write.
I was like, "What?"
Because I don't write descriptions on my stuff. I write down what it is and basically if it's got any issues, and that's it.
Yeah, that's like C3PO or something in there, right?
But it's kind of funny though, because if you go back 20 years on eBay, people used to write novels about their items, and it's kind of going back to that, but of course it's doing it for you now with AI. But it's interesting that it's going back because
it's crazy too. Like there is some stuff coming down the pipe with some possible new tools. I know like sports cards and those kind of markets, you'll actually be able to pull and do a listing just by typing in what a number essentially of the card, and it'll drop in the whole listing. Like it's kind of there's some stuff coming down the pipe like that. We hear rumors of, that is one of the things. Like the benefit of having four of us together is I know like Cernock is always ear to the ground. Tim's always ear to the ground. Yeah. I'm always talking to a ton of people. So like it's one of those things. And Leroy, he tries to okie doke people all the time, but he knows a ton more than what people like to give him credit for.
Well, he's a way better picker than he gives himself credit for. I've picked with him enough. He'll just start snatching up. Now he does concentrate 99.9% on tools, but I've seen that boy just snatch stuff up and just be like, "Oh, this is worth this. This is worth this." So yeah, he okie dokes people. That's a good way to put it for sure.
The only thing with Leroy is I tell him, I said, "Bro, you don't want to play poker with anybody, that's for sure."
No, he's got a poker face. He does.
When you find something good, he's like a kid in a candy store.
He gets all fired up. No, if it's in his wheelhouse, he's as excited as any of us for sure.
Yeah, that's funny.
Caleb, you got any questions?
Ah, man, I don't know.
Because I got plenty of stuff.
Have you ever? I done something. Well, no, let me backtrack here. I didn't do something. Tanya done something this weekend, and at first I thought she was crazy. And upon doing some research, I think she might have done really well. But she bought 550 pieces of silverware. I've never, ever, ever, ever messed with it. And I know Christina over at Trading Post Pickers does a lot of it. And we talked to her and we looked up, there's a salad fork in this thing, right? That's just a salad fork. And they're listed for $20 and there are some sold comps and we've got like 50 of them. Jeez. And last night, Tanya was looking up the set and we might have 7 or 8 sets. I don't know. But she was looking up the set, and the set had sold for $750, like an 81-piece setting. We may have 7 to 8 of those. And I was like, to me, I always looked at stuff like that as just dime a dozen stuff. And we put $40 down and bought all of it. So it may be one of our best returns.
Yeah.
Here's the argument, right? You could list all that individually and have 550 listings. And it's probably going to take 10 years to sell all of that stuff. Or you could list the settings and have maybe 25 to 30 total listings and get your money way quicker.
Mm-hmm. Me
and her was talking about, like, I would rather have that money take a little bit off and get it way quicker than to sit and get $10, $15, $10, $15 over the course of realistically could be 10 years,
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of stuff.
I'm not listing it individually, but I might do the settings, like you said. And
there's probably going to be some individuals because some of them are like the high forks and, some of that stuff. But.
Well, just put a price on it. If it's whatever the price is, whatever you decide, say $30, say, anything less than $30, I'm locking up. Anything more than $30,
absolutely,
I will, or whatever that number is for you, whatever you see.
That's basically what I do anyway.
I think about that a lot. We kind of, now Eric, we're all three, I think, kind of the same. We'll pick and sell what you find, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we still specialize in certain categories. Myself, toys. Eric, I know he's running for vintage hats, vintage shirts, shoes. I know that's Eric's main thing. Caleb, I know he loves toys as well, which I'm not excited about, being that we live in the same town. How much stuff do we miss over and skip over because we're not familiar with it? I hear all the time people, my biggest argument with new resellers or whatever, I just can't find nothing. Oh my goodness.
Do your homework.
Oh my goodness. How can you not find something?
There's enough content out there on YouTube now that
absolutely.
If you was to just decide one day, I'm going to be a reseller, You could do 3 months of video training and be an expert in so many things. I mean, it's ridiculous.
But we've talked at times about, so like what you're talking about is taking that gamble. Like for me, I always talk about that's paying for an education.
Yeah.
Like I'm paying for an education. Like, and basically, I don't care if I break even. I'll be honest, I've never not broke even on buying a deal like that. I've never not broke even.
Well, it's almost impossible not to.
Yeah. I mean, so like you're paying for education. So now, next time you go out, you've researched enough silverware. Now it's easy. You can just look and say, oh, yeah, I know what that is. I'm taking that with me.
Well, I mean, shout out to Christina. That's how she got started. They just started buying it. And
you know how much she said she had?
Oh, I know.
6,000 pieces currently. I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
But that stuff is so cheap.
And talking about easy to ship.
Easy ship. Easy to list other than, I mean, I could see where looking it up could be an issue.
That's your work, your research.
It's kind of like what we said earlier, though, right? Like for us as guys, like there ain't nothing sexy about silverware. Like I'm not. Last thing I'm doing is looking at what kind of fork I'm using. I'm looking at
right? I just want to make sure it's big enough to get my.
Yeah. Can it hold the load? Is what
right.
But you know, it makes money, and that's the thing. Like we always, I wish that we had the finances to do it, because like we've talked about it on RAN, I would love the opportunity to, when someone messages in, there's nothing here, that I can't find anything. I would love if we could go get dropped off at that place for like 3 days, and I guarantee you we'll find something.
Yeah.
I was like, it may not be what we specialize in, but it may be something. Like for me, I've completely shifted. When I first started reselling, obviously I was like everybody else, right? Pick up, like for my motto, I'd go to estate sales, anything new in the box, I would just grab it, right? If it's new in the box, if it's old, I'm grabbing it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it ain't. Electronics, I was snatching every piece of electronics I could pick up. Now I'm trying to move away from electronics. I'm really, because I find there's more time investment there that sometimes ain't necessarily worth. Like used to, I mean, what combo units were all like, now like half of them things don't work when you pick them up.
I passed over 2 this weekend just because of the way they looked, you know.
Well, that goes back to the risk versus the reward.
The risk and electronics are like the highest risk item,
highest returned item too. Like I got a return today on something that I sold. Like he's knocking on the door, the window to return it. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So, y'all say this, and I shipped out a combo today. But it was weird too, though. I bought like 7 of them at this yard sale. Now, anytime anybody's got 7 of them, guess what the reason is they have 7 of them? Because the first 6 didn't work, right?
Yeah.
But they were so cheap. She gave all 7 to me for $5.
Oh,
$5 for all of them.
I mean,
so I was like,
pass that
I've got to, you know. Of course, I get
them
them home. I hate testing that junk, but you know, so I've tested. I've had them for a while, but slowly I'll list one here and there because I'm not testing and listing and all 7 of them at once. I just refuse to. But this one, it's weird because usually the DVD works and the VHS doesn't. Well, this one, the DVD player did not work, but the VHS did. And I was like, man, if you can find VHS, they'll sell because there's plenty of people out there still looking for VHS. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna still. Now, if the VHS didn't work and the DVD player worked, I would have tossed it. But since the VHS worked, I was like, you know what? I'm going to list it. It ended up selling for $35 plus shipping, which it was a Savannah. You know, it wasn't even like a Sony or great brand or anything like that. But $35 for that one, and I've got less than $1 for it in it, you know. So, yeah, you know, that's electronics is tricky. Shout out to all the people that's all they sell because that's not me.
Hey, if that's all you sell, reach out to OBX Picker if you want to come and pick up.
Yeah, I've got some you can pick. Yeah, for sure.
Got about 10 of them.
Even the ones in my eBay store. Like I'm just,
well, the ones I paid less than $1 a piece, I'll sell them to somebody out there for $2 a piece if they'll come and get them. Because I make $35 on the one, so you know I'm good.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
what
I mean,
I've been thinking about myself. It's like just how you change, you
mm,
know, like, and for me now, I mean, I find Lord to, like, if I was to look around me, it looks like, you know, a little bit of everything you can imagine under the sun. It's just things that I pick up.
well, I was thinking about when I was getting the show together a little bit and writing down some stuff. I was like, what's some things I can ask Eric? Because I know Eric so well now. I mean, we talk on the phone weekly at least. I've picked with him probably 30 or 40 different days over the last 4 years. I mean, I know this guy, okay? And I was thinking about what is a couple of questions I could ask. And of course, you sell everything. You're like me and Caleb. Whatever you find, that's what you're selling. But you got two friends that specialize in certain things. You got Tim, who specializes in glass, and you got Leroy that specializes in tools. Now, Cernoc's kind of like us. He'll sell anything, although he's kind of specializes in clothing. But if you had to pick one of those to specialize in, glass or tools, what are you picking?
Glass is out. I've actually been selling more tools. However, I did actually pick up glass this week, oddly enough. So it's a 1930s sanitary cheese preserver.
Oh, wow.
And it's like this big around. It's heavy as lead, but it's this heavy glass. And the bottom, it actually has like these almost like a grate down at the bottom, but it's made of glass as well. It sells for like $75. Picked it up for $5.
Yeah.
I just picked it up because I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. It's
yeah. Yeah, if you, I mean, that's some knowledge right there, RIN knowledge right there, straight from the source right there. If you see something you've never seen and it's cheap, right.
Well, like me and Cernoc talk all the time because out of the four of us, like Cernoc is always like sneaky good about things that you don't think he knows about, but he knows about. Like sometimes I'll call him about something, he's like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is." But we always talk about, dude, I look for oddities, man. Like look for things that are, because you know what that's going to be when you look it up. More times than not, there's going to be not very many of them out there. Yeah. Or if there is, like it's just a little odd, like a little something different. Like I picked up the other day this because I've sold one before. V-twin sissy bar.
Oh yeah, sissy bar. Yeah, that's cool.
That's $100.
Yeah, motorcycle parts are.
I didn't even know. Honestly, I was picking with Mike and them, Death Pile Picker, and I'm pretty sure 127 last year, but not 127, 301 this year. And those guys were out there, and he picked up a couple of motorcycle things. I picked one up. I was like, "Hey, I got this, $100." So
you're selling tools over glass then?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. A shout out. I've got so much respect for both of those guys, Cernoc too, but I know Cernoc he sells kind of the similar stuff that we do, although he does specialize in the vintage clothing, the vintage shoes, the vintage hats and that stuff. But that's the stuff I love. But so much respect for the passion that Leroy has for tools, which most people would consider boring. But hey, you know, it might not be sexy, but pays the bills. I love that. But also Tim for his love and passion on the glass, the shipping. I've got so much respect for that guy for how he does his reselling, man. That is a passion.
It's gotta be. It's
passion, gotta be, man. Woo, because
we joke him all the time about the shipping aspect.
Yes.
Like me and Cernoc all the time, we pull out the poly and we're like, "Hey,
yeah. Shipping's done.
Let me ship this t-shirt."
Well, shout out the Tuesday show too. We've not mentioned it too.
Yeah.
The shout out.
Yeah, Tuesday, man. Tuesday from 9 to 12 Eastern, Reselling Information Network. We actually title that show "Listing Our Loafing." And we do a little bit of both while we're there, for sure. Sometimes we take turns, or you might catch the on the road cams occasionally. Yeah. But we love to have people come in and stop in and ask questions, or talk about something. A lot of times we'll be live on air. People will be sending me Instagram messages of things that they've picked up. We think it's cool, be a part of the community.
Well, there's very few lives in the community anymore, and those guys have a good show on Tuesdays, and then they drop a pre-recorded every Friday. So make sure to go check out the RIN. Love it.
Hey,
Love it.
Speaking of lives, somebody broke 800.
Ooh, yes.
Oh,
yeah. We promised the live when Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast broke 800, and we broke it this week. So,
are we going to do like me and wait like 3 weeks before we do it?
Well, being that I'm going to be gone for about a week, yeah, it's going to be a while, but we'll update. We've got one coming. I'll put it that way.
Hey, if you guys get us to 900 before we put it out, we'll put out 2.
I don't know. I'm not agreeing to all that.
extra 20 minutes, guys.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Each one can be 20 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, live coming out soon from the Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast, and not sure if it'll be on the channel or the OSP channel. We'll see. Yeah. I thought about putting it on the OSP channel just because we'd reach a bigger audience, and hopefully those guys could come over here and sub.
Yeah,
or gals. So, but yeah, be looking for that. We'll get that announced soon. But you got any questions? Because I got one or two more. Caleb,
shoot them off.
I know Eric goes to a ton of highway sales and has picked with a ton of different YouTubers. Eric probably knows more in the reselling community personally than anybody on YouTube. I think it's safe to say that. But is there anybody out there in the reselling community that you have not met personally or have not picked with that you're like, oh man, I'd really like to meet that guy or gal or pick with them, or maybe it is somebody you've met but you've just not got the opportunity to pick with? Is there somebody out there? Because I know you pretty much know everybody at this point.
I know.
But I was just wondering if there's one person out there.
Racking my brain. I mean, I know like not to belittle anybody or anything, but like, you know, there's a lot of people that I don't know because there's so many new people in the reselling community. But like if most of the OGs I know, like the guys that have been around for a while, like I know, I've interviewed a ton of them. I've been around Reseller Rally a couple times, like met some guys. As far as picking with somebody, man, I'm trying to think. I'll tell you who I'd like to pick with is Casey, the Carolina Hustler. One time, I think he's changed his name. I've met Casey before, but I would love to go picking golf clubs with Casey. Just because, like, I know like Kevin always says, enough to be dangerous with the golf clubs, but Casey, like, man, I called him a long time ago. I was at a garage sale and I shot him some pictures of a bag of clubs full of putters. And the guy was asking for me, like, you know me, I'm cheap and all get out, right? So for me, I was like, dude, this guy's asking $30 and $40 on these clubs. Like, I just don't. So I just shot a picture to Casey and I was like, hey, are these worth it? He's like, go back, get them all. And I was like, man, and now I know, you know, that some of those putters were worth $150. But like just for me, because I like picking up the golf clubs and it's something I like to sell. So I would say Casey. I mean, it's kind of a different out of the park kind of thought.
That's old school. Yeah. Go back and watch some of the old school picker. Oh, what did I even? Young Guns of Reselling, back when I did some lives in the early days of Old School Picker. Actually, he was one of my guests. I'd done 4 episodes of that, and he was one of my guests. I can't remember which episode, but yeah, Casey, man, that's a blast from the past.
I mean, I just because of the golf club thing, like I don't want to pick with somebody that wants hats because then, you know,
they're gonna get your hats.
Right. Well, shout out to you, man, because Tim and Cernock too played a part in it, but you because I talked to you more. You was the one that number one turned me on to hats, but also golf clubs. So yeah.
I've got 2 bags in the back of the car right now that I haven't even brought in.
Hats, man. I talk about them all the time now. It's just become one of my favorite things, and I'm developing a huge passion for them. I just love them. My dad always wore a hat, so you know it was like the old.
I'm hoping to sell my Grail at some point. My one Grail I'm sitting on right now.
Yeah. Oh my God! 3-stripe
Harley Davidson. This is from the 70s.
3-striped Harley hat. Yeah, that's probably what, $300.
Yeah, I got it listed at $350.
Yeah.
But I would have it for more than that, but it's living on the edge right there. That bill is just rare. If you soak that thing, it's done.
Yeah.
And the inside's got a little problems, but
yeah, man. Yeah, but good luck finding another one. we all three could pick every day for the rest of our lives and probably not ever see that hat again. Ever.
Hey, that made me think. Wait right there. I got something Harley to show you.
Yeah, I've got Caleb.
My grail is the diet slice. If you ever find a diet slice.
So I found something Harley this weekend. You guys can appreciate.
Motorcycle stuff sells, guys.
Well, it
sells.
Logan tried to steal this from me already because he's, Mr. Motorcycle and boats and all that.
And cigarette lighter. Yep, I've actually sold that exact cigarette lighter before. It's
comping out for low 150, and it works.
Yep.
It works.
Mine didn't. Mine was just out fluid, but yeah.
But it's in perfect shape too. Like the box is, not so great.
Yeah,
it's rough.
Oh, it's got the box. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
it's got the box though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
but it's got some condition issues. But man, I gave $8 for that.
The box.
$8 for that thing.
That's good.
And it's probably going to be. I'll probably list it at least 200.
Yeah, let's high.
I'm going to go high. I seen one. There's only one on. I want to say it was Mercari. I can't remember, and they wanted 300. And the last one on eBay sold for like 200. So I'll research it a little bit more, but yeah, I'm gonna go high.
Yeah,
I just couldn't pass it up. The guy wanted 10, and you know me, I'm like, will you take $8?
Well, I can see somebody buying that.
All the difference,
Christmas present for their dad or their grandpa or something. I could see that. So that's
absolutely. Yeah,
there's probably guys that have the whole museum set up.
Absolutely,
that's true too. Yeah.
Well, Chris knows, my son Logan is in a power sports class, and he's been driving us crazy wanting a motorcycle.
Oh,
and I'm trying to push that down the road as far as I can.
Yeah, I'll tell you real quick how to not let him get a motorcycle, because it happened to me. I wanted one so bad when I was 18. You know how I didn't ever get one?
Oh.
I got married and my wife told me I couldn't have one.
That is a good word.
Tell Logan to get married. His wife will tell him, no, you can't get one because you'll wreck and die. And that'll be the end of it.
Or you say you can pay your own insurance, buddy.
Oh, that's true too.
That's my trick for getting him not to speed. I keep telling him, if you ever get a ticket, I said, you go ahead and speed if you want to, but if you ever get a ticket, the
insurance policy on, you won't be able to afford a motorcycle.
That's right. That is right.
All right, we got some business to attend to here. Sale of the week. Eric, if you want to be included in this too, you can pull up one of your recent sales and we can talk about sales of the week.
Well,
Caleb, you got one?
I do. This one is Tanya's. She found this about a month ago. A good example of finding the obscure things that people pass by. It's and I'm going to butcher this name, a Limoges, Haviland, France, white porcelain, Jean-Jacques Prolongé wise men set. It's just ceramic wise men. These things are just like triangle shaped with a little round head, $150.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And they sit there at yard sales. People pass them by because they want $10 for them, and people are like, I ain't doing that. $10 for that at a yard sale. But if you know, right?
That's right. I mean, and plus, if you'll just take the time to hit that old eBay app and go through those listings real quick, sold listings.
Absolutely.
I'm going to talk about something that I just absolutely, it's not huge money, but I absolutely love selling them. I picked up a bunch of them during the Highway 127 sale, and it's that time of year, just like he sold the nativity set, right? It's that time of year. Vintage melted plastic popcorn. I sold a lot of 2 of them, the Christmas tree and an angel, $35.99. I love selling melted plastic popcorn.
That is funny.
I love selling that
funny.
Stuff.
You know why that's funny? Tanya picked up 3 at the same sale that I got that. 3 reindeer no, two or three reindeer and a Santa Claus.
Oh, well, don't undercut me because I've got that set listed too.
Oh,
I've not sold it yet, so don't undercut me when you go to comp it out.
Oh, yes, I will.
I think mine is because I bought them all and I just slotted them up, and I think mine is 3 reindeer and a Santa Claus. I think is what my lot is.
I believe that's exactly what she got, and I was like, "What is that?"
You better not undercut me.
And she's like, "These sell pretty good," and I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, I love selling melted plastic popcorn.
She blows my mind. Like Tanya is such a better picker than me. I thought, boy, I'm doing so good, you know. And
I bet you paid less for yours than I paid for mine because I paid for mine.
I think she gave $7 for 5 of them, I believe.
Yeah, a lot less than I paid for mine. I bought them on the 127 sale, but they came from a lady that does estate auctions out here.
Oh,
the resale lady. She was set up on the 127. And she had
Yeah.
just bought them. She was like, I really don't want to sell them because I just bought them to resale. So I don't want to take any. She wanted $10 a piece for them. And I was like, I can't pay that. You know, I can't pay that. And she's like, because she knows, you know, I'm a reseller. And I was like, you know, I'll give you $6 a piece for them, but that's as far as I can go. You know, that's like bare. I didn't want to pay that. I wanted to pay for like $3 or $4 a piece for them. But yeah, melted plastic popcorn, they will sell, and especially this time of year. I love them.
Yeah, I was intrigued when I seen them.
Eric's going to bring up a good one here.
He's going to burn the house down right here.
We're never fancy enough to bring ours up.
Nah, I had another one, but I pulled it back down. This is something because I wanted to just tell. It's a little bolo. So Chelsea boots, like that's what these are. That style of boot, the Beatles boots, little Saturday Night Fever. Yeah, but that
Travolta action.
Yeah, if you see Chelsea boots, man, they're back in style.
Ain't it crazy how styles just rotate around, and now we're seeing like the 70s stuff coming back through. And
I paid $2.
$2. Wow.
Were they that clean when you bought them?
Yeah. Actually, they were at a estate sale, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know if I got 2 in them. I got a pile of stuff for $20. So
yeah,
wow,
these things. But yeah, Chelsea boots with a little footer room action coming behind it.
Eric's he's probably more of a bundler at yard sales than I am, and I'm pretty bad about it.
That's going to be one of my newer videos. I don't know if it's 5 or 6, but I talk about bundling versus cherry picking. I defend both points of view because you know you can do good either way, but
some sales you can't
bundle.
Yeah, me too. Most of the time you pay the same for 1 or you would for 4.
Right.
I always call it hedging your bets. Like hedge your bets. Like,
and even if the other 3 items you're adding to the pile, they're only $10, $15 items. It's help covering that cost for that one golden item in there that you're wanting, you know. So
it worked for me this weekend because I was at some people's yard sale, and they were the neighbors of some folks I go to church with. And I knew their son played video games. So I'm just like, is he not selling any video games this time around? And the man was like, well, he's got some in the garage. And I'm like, so he won't sell them? He said, well, yeah. And he brought out nothing spectacular, but there was 26 of them. Xbox 360, PS2, couple of good ones. And I said, what's he wanting for them? You know, all of them. I'll buy them all. And he said, well, you just tell me. So I was like, $25. He said, sure. So I got $1 a piece in them, you know.
Right.
If I'd have bought them individually, they'd have been $2, $3.
Oh yeah.
You know, so yeah, absolutely. I did the same thing with his CD collection. I bought like 100 CDs from him. I don't know why, but I did. Because I got
lots of bundles yourself.
I'm gonna make tons of bundles on those. So
there's money in some CDs though.
There are.
And you can do good with them, you know, locking them up in top, you know, country music lot.
Yep.
You ever find rap CDs? Oh my goodness, just buy them because that's some good money. Usually, I will say that, but bundling because the law of averages pays out when you bundle most of the time, I think.
Oh yeah, because they wanted 50 cents a CD. It would have been $50.
Right.
No, it would have been like $60.
I mean, I remember a couple years ago, I ran up on a sale. He had hundreds, probably 200 opera music CDs.
Yeah.
and he wanted $1 a piece for them. And I was like, well, if I buy them all, and I think I ended up getting them for like $60. So, pretty decent deal. Well, I just slotted them up in like lots of 10, selling them for $20 or $30 or, because some of them was pretty good. I sold a few of them as individually, and I ended up, I've actually still got some of them that I've not listed, but, you can make money on that stuff.
Absolutely.
All right. Comment of the week.
Comment of the week. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
Go ahead. It's fine.
Okay. So I picked out, this is our friends, Jamie and Becky, that have the men's home thrift store. He said, Chris, you are invited to come pick our warehouse anytime you want to come down. Then he said, y'all, that means me and you, come down and pick with us, and I will throw in a free tour of Charleston.
Well, that was actually my comment of the week.
Sorry.
Yeah, but heck yeah. So I got the invite to the thrift store. Heck yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I had to invite myself because
I've been invited for the past 3 years, and I have not made my way down there yet. It's probably cost me money, but I mean, it's hard to. It's like a 6-hour trip, so it's hard to break away.
Where is it? Charleston, South Carolina?
Yeah.
You ruined it.
I'm not telling you where, though, or how.
Eric will be there with a group of pickers.
Yeah,
he'll be there. Hours, that's nothing, man. That's nothing.
Yeah. Well,
you live in the middle of the ocean, bro. Like, you got to drive.
You do. That's true.
Eric's got to drive 6 hours to go to a yard sale. He lives on an island, dude. He's got to take a cruise just to get back to the lower 48.
Yeah.
Well, I will use this other comment. Shout out to all the podcast channels out there on YouTube. We're trying to really push all those. And there's a new one, a new podcast. I don't even know if Caleb, do you know about this?
Is it the Dan in
Demand? Oh, Dan. He's an old friend of me and Eric.
Eric's
known Dan for a long time, but he's got a new podcast. And it's on the Dan in Demand channel. He said, I list with my phone. I don't know if I could actually figure out how to list on my computer. Well, I'm just the opposite, Dan. I list on the computer 99% of the time. But we had that discussion last week. But shout out to Dan. Go check him out on Dan in Demand. He's got a new podcast channel, and I love these reselling podcasts. And shout out to Eric, because that's sort of kind of what the RIN is. It's a little bit of a podcast feel.
I know we've never officially called it a podcast, mainly because I hadn't put it up much on the podcast.
Well, I think the difference between you guys and most other podcasts is y'all are 99% information, and we are about 1% information.
Right. This is probably the most reselling talk.
It is by far.
I watched y'all's last episode.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, we try to slide in a little bit, but just to prove we are actual resellers and we do know what we're talking about.
I brought some boxes.
We bring in Eric.
Keep that. You need to burn. You need to burn something. Is that what you got that for?
Eric is pointing to 3 USPS priority boxes in the background. So shout out, Caleb. Order those boxes today on the USPS website. Free to your house. It'll bring them to your house, Caleb.
What do you ship your shoes in?
I don't sell shoes a whole lot.
No.
We've sold a few, but I'm not big on shoes.
I can't believe you don't at least invest in the flat rate poly mothers, bubble mothers, the priority ones. No, that's a good deal if you got something heavy that's not really breakable, or clothing,
or you can bag in a box in them too.
Yeah,
that's what I did. I put one of those boxes I gave you, those security boxes. They fit in those padded flat rate.
Yep.
I have seen a lot of people do that.
It's a good deal.
If you do like sweatshirts and stuff too, like you can fit a sweater in one of those, like $7 versus paying like $9.
Saves a little money.
Yeah, no doubt.
Other things.
Hey,
I use these for storage and because what I do is when I list my shoes, I put them dead in the box. They're ready to rock.
Yeah, I've seen people do that. You just pull them out, tape it shut, and go.
Back when I was strictly a die-cast seller, do you know how many of those shoe box priority boxes I use? Because those 24 scale die-cast fit perfect in those things.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how many of those I've used in my lifetime.
You can fit a shoe up to like maybe a size 13.
Yeah, they're good. I like them, the number 7s, and then the poly I use the shirt boxes from time to time for like board games and stuff like that. But yeah, them shoe boxes and number 7s and then the padded flat rate. Oh.
Now I've actually bought these. So if you're selling Whatnot and you're using the flat rate box, you can actually get a better deal. 12 by 12 by 12. So you can get the large flat rate 12 by 12 by 6 and double stack.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Shout out Whatnot. Go follow everybody, all 3 of us on Whatnot too, because I know when I get back from vacation, I plan on doing some Whatnot auctions.
Hey,
and I know Eric does a lot, and I know Caleb's done some, and I know Caleb will do some more eventually.
Did you look into that ambassador program thing yet?
I did. I told them I was interested, and they sent me a link to get a schedule for the onboarding, because it is a separate onboarding than just the regular. Yes. And I've not scheduled it yet because I'm going on vacation. But as soon as I get back from vacation, I will.
I did it already.
Did you?
Takes about 30 minutes. You actually talk to the lady that's over all that. She just goes over it, and mine's active. So
cool. Well, you need to
easy.
You need to add the new link.
I did.
Oh yeah, so
yeah. Well, I didn't hear. I'll have to give you
the
number.
What do people get?
Well, instead of $10, they get $15, and you get a $25 kickback on their first purchase.
Yep.
And there's milestone bonuses or something. I can't remember all of it.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were doing. So yeah. Okay.
It's just a little bit more.
I've been on that.
She said, have you?
Yeah.
She said something about like if you get bigger and bigger, you get the possibility for sponsorships and stuff. And I was like, well,
shout out to Eric.
97 things on there, so I don't think I'm ready for that. But
I mean, you guys are to be getting a huge kickback from Whatnot, because I tell you right now, you guys introduced Whatnot to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we were talking about it the other day about how when we first started on Whatnot, like I got a little bit delay behind Tim and those guys. Actually, American Arbitrage is who actually got me onboarded, because they pretty much closed the doors for a little while on bringing in new resellers. Then they opened the floodgates shortly behind that. But man, you schedule a show. Like myself and Ots Antiques launched the Lego category pretty much because we had a massive Lego buy. Like used to for clothing, like you could schedule a show, there'd be nobody else in your time slot. Like you could just get on there. Now there's like 400 on there at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I did the action figures, and like you could do the picker shows. There'd be nobody out there like on that stuff. Like used to be like, oh, I wonder what time of day I want to go.
Yeah, I still remember when they first started the estate sale auction, and of course Eric was the one telling me about it, and that's what made me want to do it, because picker auctions, that's what we specialize in, sell what you find, right? So yeah, shout out.
We were doing picker auctions before. I was doing picker auctions long before it was a thing, but I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna sell it. Yeah. Load the table.
Well, our link will be down below for that. Use Caleb's link, I guess.
No, use Chris.
Well, no, because they get more for you.
Get $15.
Yeah, you get $15 with Caleb's link. You still just get 10 with mine, but I will soon change that. I will be getting the $15 link.
So I do have one question before we go for Eric. Do you think that eBay is missing the boat on eBay Live by not getting that thing cranked out now?
They can't do it.
I think so.
They can't. They're so like, it's one of those things. The thing with being small, like one of the things I've noticed about Whatnot, and there's other platforms that are doing it too. I think that eBay is too big. Like the other day, we were actually doing a little research for our show. 2 billion transactions a day. Like they can't do it. There's no way that I don't think their servers would hold, and I don't think that they have the technology. I don't think they're there with that. I mean, we all know, like the one big complaint we all have most of the time with eBay is they can't even make somebody pay for an auction now. How are you gonna make somebody pay for an auction instantly?
Or the best offer?
Yeah, so like it's one of those things. I just don't think they can. I mean, I think they would require them basically restructuring everything they're doing, but I mean, I'm not one of those thinking that eBay is going anywhere. I think that they're actually still going to be around. just because they're a different deal. Like there's a lot of things moving to the live sale. I mean, maybe 15, 20 years down the road, like maybe, I mean, who knows? At that point, you might blink your eye and a package show up at your porch. Like, you know,
Right.
like, I mean, things are moving so fast, but like the thing with like a Whatnot there, dude, when I was talking to the Whatnot guy at Reseller Rally, and we were kind of talking about the history of that, you know, when by the time that Cernock and those guys got onboarded, they had 10 people working at Whatnot, like literally 10 people working at Whatnot.
Grief.
So, like, I mean, they're so small that they could pivot quicker and learn from the beginning. And like I said, there's some things in the works I'm hearing from other platforms that are already starting to look at all the things all these live sellers are trying to do, and they're already looking to ways to take out the kinks. I mean, just like Whatnot adapts all the time. I don't think eBay can, like, the analogy I used the other day, think about like you guys fish, right? So think about your bass boat, right? You can turn that around on a dime. Dude, you get one of these big steam cruise ship. How long does it take to turn that thing? To get it? Like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. eBay's so massive to
good analogy. Yeah.
Like it'd be tough to turn it. So that's my thought.
Good insights.
Well, you one thing I will add to that, you talk about think eBay's not going anywhere, and I don't either, but the one thing that could play a huge part in that is how big can Whatnot or these live channels, how big can they make their marketplace?
Yeah.
Not just because, you know, if I'm watching a live, I can't go on there and search for a specific item.
Yeah.
Through the live auction. But if they build that marketplace, that storefront in the background, and you can search that, and if they build that part of it too, and where they're offering the live auctions or the marketplace, you want to talk about eBay should be getting very nervous very quick. That's one thing I do fear for eBay.
Yeah.
But in the same token, if eBay can ever get their live going, then they're going to hurt Whatnot and all these other live platforms too. So it's
one of
a mix.
Yeah,
right now it's good because there's a market for both places. There's a big enough.
I wonder if they even want to do, like, you think about 2 billion transactions a day. Like, dude, I know because you know I have the credit card background. Just on credit card fees, bro. They're crushing it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Then you talk promotion. Then you talk, like, you know, all the fees. Like I think for them, they're looking at it like, hey, you know, we are the big fish, but like you definitely see resellers. I think a lot of the small resellers are pivoting, but obviously, like some of their enterprise stores and anchor stores, like they ain't going nowhere. Like they're not going to move.
No,
you know, all that inventory over. So.
Well, and shout out, I mean, to eBay for I feel like they're no longer trying to be Amazon.
Yes.
I feel like that they did give up that about 2 years ago, and I think they're so slow, just like you was talking about that huge cruise ship, but they are trying to turn, and I appreciate that. It's just taking a while, you know, and I'm not
think even Amazon, I mean, like market share is being spread out a lot more. Like think of apps like Temu or like when Wish.com started their thing. But now, like, I don't know if you guys know, do you go in the back of your post office?
I used to when I lived in the other town. I've
been in there once or twice.
Yeah.
Right. There's Temu packages out everywhere. Like in the back of that thing. I was like, man, what's these things?
Everybody I know, man, buys from that. And I'm like, quit buying that junk, man. Quit. And I mean it's part of what Amazon
2.0 is what it is.
Oh, absolutely. Well, man, Caleb, you got anything else? Oh, we got dad joke. I gotta get my tail whooped on dad jokes real quick.
Hey, I actually got a dad joke for you.
All right, we got 3 people on the dad joke. Nice. Maybe I'll finish second. All right, go ahead, Caleb.
All right, what is the oldest animal in history?
The oldest animal in history. Oh, that's a tough one. I don't know. Eric, any guesses?
I'm blank on that.
It's a zebra. He's still black and white.
Oh no, I think we got a chance, Eric. I think we got
a chance. You got a chance.
We got a chance. Well, this is a shout out to Eric because he's a huge shoe seller. But did you guys hear about the fire at the shoe factory?
Yeah, many souls were lost.
Oh God! I knew there was a chance he was going to get that. Yeah, unfortunately, many souls.
And it was probably started by some hill, if you want to know the truth.
All right, Eric. I think you got a chance to take this one.
One of my daughter's favorite jokes is, "How do you make an egg roll?"
I've seen that earlier. I keep push it. Yeah, that's true.
Well, you guys got the dad jokes pulled up like you're.
No, I don't. I got mine. That's it.
Well, the thing is, I read so many of these trying to look for one that we've not used, or one that I like, and it's like I see all these jokes, but I have a hard time remembering what the punchline is on them. All right, so leave it in the comments down below how I won again.
Hey, I won. I automatically win. Automatically.
Caleb beats me every week. I think I've won like once, maybe twice.
One time. That was a sympathy win for you, by the way.
All right. This has been episode 30 of the Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. Thank you so much, Eric. Eric, you got any last words?
Man, I do appreciate you guys for having me on. And congrats on the 30th episode. Congrats on the 800, soon to be 1K. Jennifer Hayes, get on the ball. No, we do thank you guys for having us and enjoy y'all's content. And man, really being here with y'all talk a little bit closer to normal speed. So
shout out, Dave.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, Caleb, you got any final words?
Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate you being here and taking time to talk with us, and keep on keeping on down there with the RIN, man. Good stuff.
Yes, everybody go check them out. RIN, Reseller Information Network, Eric, Cernock, Tim, and Leroy. Ton of good information.
Got you guys pulled up right now, fixing to join up.
Yeah, it's on the back. It's on the TV in Caleb's background there, too.
Yeah, so we're fixing to do a new members-only live stream.
And I mean, $1.99 for the cheap one. Who can't do that, you know?
Right.
I mean, go join up, guys.
Go over and support those guys. They have a live on Tuesdays and then a pre-recorded on Fridays, and they drop a lot of shorts through the week. They've got Facebook channels. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. Each one of them have their own channels. You can find them. Good information. I trust these guys and support these guys 1,000% and believe in these guys. Just sincere people and very good at what they do, and they all specialize in different things. We bring all that information together and put it out there for free on YouTube, guys. They do have memberships if you want to help support them, but man, you want to talk about one to support. They are.
And Tanya likes them because every time I pop in, Leroy's always talking about that banana pudding. So she's always like, "Yep, I like them guys."
If you see the slow-mo reel from last week's Listing and Loaf, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna have some more RIN and Two Old Guy Reseller podcast. Some, what do you call that? Collaboration. That's the fancy word I can think of. So thank you guys. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Caleb, for another good show. This has been episode 30 of Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. Thank you guys for joining. I think this is our longest episode yet, by the way. Appreciate you watching the whole episode. Color green in the comments down below if you've listened to all this part. Hopefully you have. Thank you guys for watching. Old School Picker, Two Old Guys, Eric, OBX Picker, Reseller Information Network, out. Thank you guys.